what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. So the players met with the media yesterday, and I want to get some Nuss sound, I want to get some Greg Penn sound on the defense, but let's start with some Mason Taylor sound talking about Garrett Nussmeier. Here is Taylor speaking on Nuasmeyer stepping into a leadership role.
Definitely stepped into the role right away, and I think that's big for us because right after the bowl game, and like I think you guys knew Coach Kelly said about the player-led team, he's 100% right. Nuss has came in and took this team upon himself, and he's taking the offense to do extra throwing, watching extra film, and all that stuff. So he's taking the team with him, and I think that's something we need.
So Nuss immediately taking the reins of this team, and he was asked about this. Says Nuss too. How do you take over as a leader?
These are guys I've been around for a long time. These are guys that I spent a lot of time with, and we've just built relationships over time, and it's easy when it's done that way. I think that's important. Especially in my position and playing quarterback. It's having relationships with your teammates. So we spend time on the weekends together. We do whatever, and I think that's where it starts. It's building relationships with those guys.
Jake, what about that? Do you because basically he would go on. He's talking about hanging out on the weekends, getting together with the boys. With all the leaders that you've been a part of, right? Does it help if there's an actual off the field relationship?
I don't think there's any question about it. Being with Flynn in college,
yep.
Obviously we all hung out together. Even a young freshman, T-Bob Hebert, somehow found his way into some of the house parties. And so, I think that helps you.
Vasectomy jokes.
In the NFL, I think, being around the quarterbacks off the field and learning each other, all that's important. Even in Denver, Peyton Manning was great at it. Peyton Manning was, hey, I'm going to take the veteran guys out. I'm going to take some guys on offense that I think need some veteran leadership out. Even John Fox, the head coach, would go with us.
Oh, wow.
I'd never been a part of a dynamic like that. And so you do all those things, T-Bob, because once you get on the field, then you kind of speak the same language, and you don't have to have as much verbiage when you speak the same language. It's a look, it's a quick hand signal, it's a nod, it's something like that. And it's because hey, we have spent so much time. I kind of know your mannerisms. I know what you're looking for me to do. And I think you get those type of things done when you hang out away from football.
I would agree. I think on the offensive line, that's always been something that I felt is critical as well, because it's a group where you're working so much in concert with one another where, you want to reach that point where you're getting at the communication is almost happening on a subconscious level. It doesn't have to be vocal. Here's what Nuss had to say about kind of living up to the expectations of last season.
2023, 2024 LSU football team is gone. It's no longer. It's now us, and it's our team. And it doesn't matter that we won 10 games and whatever in back-to-back years. It doesn't matter anymore. If we go 5-5 or 5-7, whatever it adds up to this year, it doesn't matter. It's about what we want to be and what we want to do this year, and the level and the standard that we are holding ourselves to.
An easy answer, but the correct answer there in terms of this being a new team. And speaking of 10 wins, this is Nuss 8. Very, very forward here about what the expectation is going forward.
If you asked any of us that, we'll tell you we don't believe that that's the standard anymore. Going into year 3, in this system, not even on the field, but off the field, and how we do things on a daily basis, how we act, how we move around this building, how we do things outside of this building, it's all changed. And we hold ourselves to the standard to where we believe, like I said, 10 wins is not enough anymore. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, we have to win a national championship. That's not how we think, but it's about the little things. It's about doing the little things the right way, and that leads to a championship culture.
So I find that answer to be pretty fascinating, not just because it is bold, right? That's not an easy answer. That's not shying away. That is being very clear-cut about what the expectation is going into year 3. But more so than anything, Jake, I remember watching, what was it, the Path? The LSU Gold documentary or was it it was about the process. I think it was called The Path. I don't know why I'm blanking, but it had a pod on it. But it was all about breaking down Brian Kelly's process, but it was at the very beginning, right? And it was all about creating habits, these small, daily, positive actions that you engage in so consistently that they become second nature, they become habitual. And at the beginning, it was like we talked about, the coach, like everybody's having to learn. The upperclassmen, everybody's having to learn, and the coaches are having to teach. Even the coaches are learning it as well. Now you have reached the point where, look, Nussmeier's been doing this for well over 2 years, as has this team. So it's no longer learning. It is becoming second nature, and that's exactly what he's getting at right there. And instead of the young guys and the old guys learning, it is now player-led transference of information, as it is the veterans saying, look, this is how we do things around here, and this is what's going to be expected of you. And so to hear Nuss so casually and almost reflexively sounding like Brian Kelly did 3 years ago when he took over, I think speaks to the process really starting to take root here.
And you can tell, like, when you go over to the building, the process is still something that the messaging is on the wall, and it's something that they want to get across. But you're right, it becomes a situation where the players start to tell the young players about the process and what is expected there, because they've been molded in it now. Like, Garrett Nussmeier's been here for multiple years. I mean, he's been here since 21, but he's been here since Brian Kelly takes over. So he's going into year 4, and so he can tell the young players about that process. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, for me, like, I played for different head coaches here, but one constant was Tommy Moffitt. And you knew what Moffitt expected in the weight room. And so whenever a young player came in, you tried to help them out. You tried to lead them down the path and understand what Tommy Moffitt expected in the weight room and what you had to do, right? You tell them the bare minimum, but you say you got to go above the bare minimum because, like, if you want to succeed in this program, you have to succeed in this weight room. It's the same situation. And now, like, the coaches will still do their part, but they don't have to do as much because of players like Nussmeyer and Mason Taylor and Greg Penn, all these older players who have been through it. They've been molded by it as well because this is the head coach that they know.
The and Jake Flint, Jake Flint's been there since Brian Kelly got there. So although I can't speak to Flint's culture, I'm sure that they've adopted it in the same way that and that he reinforced it in the same way that Tommy Moffitt did in our day there. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.